children with these parents. This is identification. And by the way, identification is a kind of a psychological term. Identification of yourself as these things. Identification of yourself as this history. Thinking that you are these things. But that is not who you really are. Who you really are is inner divinity. Who you really are is a divine, mighty, powerful, spiritual being who happens to be in this body temporarily and who is unlimited, who has all possibilities, and who is divine. That's who you really are. But we identify ourselves as something other than that, and that is the fall from grace. That is the belief in separation, the belief in duality. If we can return to that state of Eden, return to the state of oneness with God, knowing who we really are, then we are living no longer under the law of karma, we're living under the law of grace. And we are dwelling in that perfect presence of God. And when I say God, okay, don't get hung up on some Santa Claus idea of God. This is pure energy, pure divinity, wholeness, oneness, the absolute reality.
That was so eloquent. I want to wrap up this hour with you by asking you to share a little bit about what it was like to be on the personal staff of the Maharishi's organization and what it was like to live in the Himalayas and the Alps.
Right. So I've been practicing disciplines for about 45 years, and I was in the ashram of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who was the guru of the Beatles and of Deepak Chopra, and I was on his personal staff for 7 years. And living in the ashram was a wonderful experience. It's an experience of great inner happiness and peace and bliss and all of that. And I had wonderful experiences. I used to meditate anywhere from 5 to 20 hours a day when I was in the ashram. I used to go into my room and I would not appear for up to 8 weeks at a time. I would have the food brought to the door. I used to observe silence and not utter a word for up to 4 months at a time. I used to fast for up to 2 months at a time, practice celibacy for decades, so on, so on. So that was what it was like to be in the ashram. But to be in the ashram was to have that experience of great bliss, of great inner peace from the meditation, from all the meditation I did, and also from being in the presence of a great holy saint, which was really powerful. But, we were pioneers in the spiritual field. It was way back when, a long time ago. This was the 1960s and the 1970s, and it was a time when we really this world needed to change. And we were the pioneers doing the work where we were like cutting the pathway through the jungle with our scythes. And so we needed to do all that meditation. It's not necessary for people to do all that meditation now. You can experience and have sublime divine experiences in just a few minutes now, because the world has lifted so much. The entire world, the consciousness of the world is so changed now that it's not necessary for all of you to go live in an ashram to have these experiences. You can have these experiences in your own home, in a quiet place, or going outside next to a quiet pond or lake or river or in the forest or wherever. And you can have beautiful experiences of divinity by yourself, because the atmosphere is ready for that. It's ripe for that at this time. We're in a different era, and we can all have this sublime experience right here, right now, just by asking for it.
I love the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your book, Miracle Prayer, 9 Steps to Creating Prayers That Get Results. I look forward to reading your other books. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show and for persevering for the scheduling of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's my complete pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with, learning from, and listening to Dr. Susan Shumsky. She is the author of Miracle Prayer, 9 Steps to Creating Prayers That Get Results, and many more books. You can reach her by going to divinerevelation.org. Thank you so much, Susan.
You're welcome.